deals business to the next level. That's the conversation today.
Let's
to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
We should actually change that to multiple times weekly because here we are. We're back Monday,
That
Wednesday,
was
Friday.
awesome. I like it.
Monday's 9 a.m., Wednesday's 10 a.m., and Friday's 11 a.m., I think, because is it 11 a.m. Fridays?
I thought you said 11:30.
11:30, that's right,
You-
because we got the
you-
Sell Something Else Masterclass at 10
That's right.
on Friday. So 11:30. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to talk about how to maximize these deals in Q4 and really take your business into kind of like hyperdrive. And, DJ, I know you got a lot of strategies and ideas for this. And it's, it's one of these things that we look at, right? And typically the old school way of, our industry was, you kind of have that almost lull in the summer, people are on vacation, nobody really wants to make any decisions.
Yeah.
For me anyways, I know early in my career, it was like pulling teeth to close deals in like July, August, and even leading into the first part of September. It's like nobody wanted to pay attention to anything you said. I mean, you could literally offer them a Ferrari and they still would, well, maybe they might listen at that point, but
Maybe, just maybe.
maybe, but it's crazy how the supply chain, the industry as a whole, the shipping patterns have changed, the purchasing patterns have changed, companies' purchasing patterns have changed. Like COVID has really done a number on what used to be, and in speaking with a lot of industry icons that, their job and their whole life is data. We almost are no longer going to see Christmas rushes, if you will, in for that, lack of a better term. But more importantly, talking about today is, you know, there's certain things now that, and for if there's any shippers watching, please put comments in because this would be very interesting.
Yes.
Things have changed as a shipper, right? And what a shipper looks for and how they, I'm going to say, respond to the market, respond to sales calls is so different than what it used to be. And I know we've spoken about it many times, but it's worth repeating again. You know, for y'all that are the professional sales reps that are consistently going after new business, understand the one thing here is like we're talking 5 to 1,500% increase in sales calls. When we brought customers in through Inception's weekly calls, like there was no joke, 25 a day from where this person, most of them used to get 10 a week, and it goes up to 25 a day. That's a lot of smoke to cut through, DJ. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. And yeah, so back in the scenery, Ryan, where you at? Back in the typical scenery you see. No more Batcave, but hey, everybody, yeah. And Dan's right. I mean, and here's the thing, guys. Not only preparing for Q4 right now and the changes that are going on, and the holiday rush that usually is no more. But I mean, I think we have to, at least for the who knows, it might be the foreseeable future. We really have to get, we keep saying it's COVID, but now I think this might be the new future, and we got to just get used to it. And there is going to be some changes. I don't think we're going back to the old way of freight, of a lot of things. And yeah, with if you guys aren't seeing the stories, I'm seeing them everywhere about just ships, containers with containers full, just sitting, piling up in lines in the ports all over the place. So
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they're
get
also
ready.
estimating, 2023 before this kind of any of this calms down. But so obviously, I mean, everybody is by this point. I mean, if you're not aware of all the challenges in the market, that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah,
for
yes,
right now, Q4 is upon us. Many salespeople at this point are oh my God, I'm so short on my projections, or I mean, this is typically when everyone starts looking at their business, when really it should have been like 8 months ago that everyone's and then 6 months
Set
ago, and
goals,
then four
guys.
months ago,
Set
and then
goals, monthly goals, weekly
and you
goals,
know
daily
what?
goals.
Guilty of it.
Uh,
Also, you know what I mean?
I
Like
think
we just
we're all
well
guilty
we
of it.
because we
We
get
start
into
to feel a
this.
groove.
Yeah, but here's like you start the year out. It's funny. I was saying to my wife last night, like, where in the hell did the year go? Like,
Right?
like it's like, holy crap, man! Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it's gone. And before you know it, it'll be Christmas. You walk out, and before I knew it, there was like Halloween stuff in all the stores, and
Yep.
I saw Christmas lights, and like it's like, holy
Yeah. What is going
crap,
on?
right? But you know, maximizing your deals in Q4 comes down to a few things. And I don't know if DJ just took an elevator there; he just disappeared. But
Yeah. Sorry. It was
it's
going to
okay.
the bottom. It was going to the back cave again first. No, I'm just
Oh, okay. So maximizing deals in Q4. It's a big topic. People really want to know, how do I bring that volume of closes, bring that volume of deals up. So I'll let you go first, DJ. Share with us, or share with the community, share with everyone what you would do to really start maximizing those deals in Q4.
so guys, right now is really the time to get with, especially your top customers, your best customers, and just prepare them. They should already be prepared, and you should have done this. But if you haven't, prepare them for. And I think that was Ryan, right? It says, yeah. Prepare them for what's to come and what's going to come, and get them ordering. And listen, it's gonna, yeah, what Dan said. It's going to be a lot of changes, and you're just going to really want to focus on trying to help your customers deal with these supply chain issues that we are having and going to have, especially in these busy times. Especially, so I will tell you, my customers, my main bulk of customers is food, so we're pretty steady. So I don't really have the busy holiday season. I don't deal with the toys and the Christmas trees and the different things that tend to see the real big push on these times. So I don't have that as much. But I mean, even for my customers now, there's uh, one of our big things is a lot of USDA. And the USDA is trying to push out a lot of stuff right now. They want a lot of stuff. Even the shops are starting to order. A lot of big customers trying to fill and order more than they typically do, because they know that, again, everybody's starting to feel the squeeze of the supply chain, and so you're
Mhm.
gonna see it. You're gonna see it. Get ready.
Ryan just right, and I believe it's Ryan. We'll have to go and check Facebook, because I think there's
Yeah,
still. I mean, I know for me, I'm still seeing recovery from the old Facebook outage on Monday. But
yeah.
Ryan said such a good thought. I've noticed that every customer is behind this year, especially when it comes to yearly RFPs. So Ryan, I'm going to give you a single strategy that I think is going to catapult this for you. So let's understand the concept of an RFP, okay? Not really the concept, but let's understand the overall structure. So if we go 30,000 foot view from an RFP, right? The RFP costs a whack of cash for companies.
Yeah.
If I were you, anyone that says they're behind on the RFP, my first suggestion to be, well, okay, what if you didn't need to do that RFP? What if there was certain areas we could handle for you? What if we went to your suppliers right now, and we actually conducted a mini non-paying RFP? So you're not paying the big companies the 60, 80 grand to do an RFP, especially if you have business in that RFP and the new one coming up. If you're already doing business, go back to the old RFP and say, hey, listen, I can handle these lanes.
Yep.
Would that help you out? Not only that, with supply chains being crunched and supply chains being squeezed, why don't we just continue doing what we're doing? We could absorb this chunk of business for you, and you don't even have to put your attention there. We could put our attention to things that are actually going to grow your business. That would be one of my first sells to anyone doing an RFP.
Yep.
Would be just look at what you do, look at the old RFP, because their business probably hasn't changed that much, in the last 12 months, realistically, because most people were holding steady with their business.
Yeah.
Look at the volumes, talk to your suppliers, because my biggest thing for maximizing deals in Q4 is I would start with every single supplier that I have. And I would go to my asset-based suppliers and I'd say, I'd ask the three questions that I would ask customers. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What can we improve on specifically towards their drivers? And then I would say, moving into 2022 and moving into Q4, what could we do to build this lane? What could we do to add new lanes? And you take that information and you go back to your prospects and customers. So if you have a supplier that does, Nashville to Chicago, Nashville to Toronto, Nashville to Calgary, whatever, Nashville to California, but they're expanding and they want Nashville to Florida or they want this, I would literally go to every single prospect. I would start with a quick blurb on what's actually happening in the industry, how trucks are getting squeezed again, how capacity is tightening day after day after day after day, and how the spot market is actually a way to lose money and actually artificially inflate lanes. And what I would do is I'd say, here's a list of lanes my core suppliers are looking to cover. Do you have any availability, or do you have is there any possibility we can jump into those lanes? And I'm almost guaranteeing you, just as sure as it's going to get dark out there tonight, that you're going to get massive replies. Because here's the thing. In the last 2 weeks, I've made it a point every day to speak to 5 to 10 shippers. And every one of them is saying, I need a solid plan for 2022. I keep and I shouldn't say everyone, the majority and the overall general context is like, I can't keep jumping back and forth. Like, I'm not interested in using my time to say, hey, can you get me a rate on this? Or, hey, here's my 10 guys. Like, they are looking to streamline things, but
Yeah.
they're looking to streamline things. And here's the caveat with the professional, the one that understands the market, the one that understands what's going on.
Yep.
Your market knowledge can come from your suppliers as a broker. I mean, these are the guys on the street, man. These are the Marines digging the ditches in front of you.
Right.
This is your front line. The drivers, great people on the asset side that understand what's happening. It's not just the fact that trucks are being squeezed. It's the fact that we can't get trailers. It's the fact that we can't get this. When we need parts, we have to, like, we're duct taping things together because things are missing. And, all you got to do is look at the automotive industry to see that these challenges are occurring. But you, as the sales rep, are the one that can go to market and say, hey, not sure if you do this, but if you like what I do here, here's where I'm also looking. And it's and DJ, it's a soft sell for sure, because
Mhm.
I would probably do it starting with sending every single customer an email saying, can I schedule a call with you? I want to talk to you about 2022,
Yep.
getting ahead of the situation. And then with
Yep.
every prospect, I'd probably send them an email saying, hey, listen, I'm putting together a 2022 plan. Here's the lanes I'm looking to expand on, as well as the ones we talked about. Here's the volumes. And I would, even if I were you, I would include the price. I would say,
Yeah.
here's the volumes and here's the
Yeah.
cost I'm looking at. If this matches any of your business, I'd like to secure this as soon as possible, because just like, and here's a really good analogy to use it. Just like if you were looking at hiring a contractor right now, most contractors are booking until the summer of 2022. So
Oh
if
yeah.
we are going to secure these lanes for you, I'd like to secure them now to have you be comfortable moving into the holiday season. Wow, that's really good verbiage. I like that. That's good.
Oh
I
yeah.
just kind of I just kind of flew
Yeah.
that up,
Yeah.
Mr. Cleveland. You're just, every
That was
day
good.
you have a different hat, and every day
Oh, come on, man.
you got man, you're matching. And we did a just for fun here. I took a picture of on Restream, which we use to stream all this. It has to last like 5 episodes. And on every episode, there's one thing that's in common. That's DJ's smile, because he's
Ah,
always smiling,
stop
brother.
it.
So you know
Stop
what? That is
it.
awesome.
Wait a minute. Man.
So yeah, so that would be my suggestion to really maximize your Q4, right? Like go
Absolutely.
back to your top suppliers.
Well, and, yeah, and you're so right. Yeah, and even with the pricing, yeah. I mean, guys, yeah. Here, just and this is for anything. I mean, just you put yourself on the other side. If somebody sends you, hey, I'm putting together a plan, and this is what we're thinking, or you go to a restaurant. Here, I'll put it in better terms. Go to a restaurant, or you look up a restaurant online. Even better yet, look up a restaurant online, and they don't show prices. What's the first thing you think of? Oh man, this place is expensive. They don't want to tell me the prices. This place is so expensive. They don't even want to tell me. So think of that for the customers too, guys. And like Dan's saying, yeah, give them something. Thank you. Give them something. I feel like Mr. Rogers when we do this sometimes. We got the mailman comes in. I might have to do a little intro.
You know what, Mr. Rogers, the best Mr. Rogers as ever is Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live.
Oh
Can you
my
say black market, ladies and gentlemen? But you know, DJ, I agree. I also so, and I like the fact that you mentioned that about like a menu.
God.
For me, I always like that whole reverse engineered logistics philosophy was because when I get your attention, I want to keep it. And when I get your attention and you know, when I get you on the phone as a prospect, it's like you want to jump through as many of the steps in your sales sequence as possible because again, we go back to it because if your prospect's getting 1500% more calls and I get you on the phone and you are the slightest bit interested, I'm going to jump through those as many I'm going to run through as many hurdles as I can to engage you, to build that relationship, to continue the conversation and to get you going, huh, great question. Like we talked about on some episodes before. So by having that pricing, it eliminates another 3 emails back and forth.
Yep.
It's like, hey, yeah, I have those lanes. However, you're $300 higher. Okay, thank you, Mr. Prospect. Have a great day. Not interested.
Yeah.
Right? Like to me, it's about maximizing my time and getting as much done in as little time as possible. And it doesn't mean missing steps or getting it done shoddy. It's if I'm the prospect and I've got a massive job to do because you got to think, right? Like if you go to most salespeople and companies, if they're struggling right now, the pressure on them is 10 times more than it has ever been before.
Mhm.
And think of the flip side of it, right? My supply chain is completely fractured. My costs are rising. I have product, customers are screaming at me for the product, and my chips are offshore, or whatever the case may be. My trucking has gone up 20%, and my customers won't pay me another dime. Where is
Yep.
that money coming from? So, what I'm doing now is as their contracts are ending, right, as my contract is ending with my customer, I'm looking to secure my logistics costs because this is the key. The most of our market costs are fixed.
Mhm.
Transportation is the variable that will can make or break a company. That's
Abs-
the reality. I mean,
Absolutely.
absolutely, you get companies paying 4% for freight. They're like, this is great, and all of a sudden their cost goes up to 8% when they're making 10% margins. They're now making 6% margin. You know what I mean? Like those that math is astronomical,
And that's huge. And that, I mean,
huge,
just the change of a couple percentage points is going to be a huge difference
huge.
to what that business does, or if it survives or it doesn't survive. Really, I mean, some businesses are, especially with the way supply chain and shipping is. I mean, some businesses have such small margins already to begin with, but
Well,
you
I mean,
got
look at it like this. If your product comes out of Asia, right? And I mean, I know this is the big blah, 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 but this baseline, think of this for a second. If your product comes out of Asia and 24 months ago, you were paying 35, $3,800, you
yep.
know, we're talking
I was like,
2024. There's some people trying to charge 30 G's. You
yes,
think of
exactly.
that. It's the same amount of product, and the containers haven't tripled in
Yeah,
size. They haven't allowed you to, like they haven't put a
yeah,
little balloon on the top. Like, so your cost has gone up 600% just to get it to shore.
exactly.
Then you get it to shore, and because of the congestion and the massive amounts of quantities hitting, all your onshore prices, your dray costs, everything has gone through the roof. So
Yep.
if you had contracts in place, and I remember this vividly, um, when the dollar would fluctuate, like the US Canadian dollar would fluctuate huge. I had
Yep.
a customer in Ontario that pulled freight out of California. Okay. And they pulled freight out of California from their parent company. So it's not even as if it was it was like, this is their parent company, international in US and Canada. Their deal was with Canadian Tire up in Canada. And they had a specific price that they locked the deal in with. Well, when our dollar would fluctuate by 6 points, they would be like, okay, no, okay,
You're
how
holding
fast
out.
can you
Yeah.
get it here if we ship next week? Like, if
Yeah.
I ship today, this is the dollar points that I lose. And it was this game that they played to try and save the maximum amount. Now, that is 1, 2, 3 points on a US to Canadian currency. You're talking what, 3,000 to 30,000, like 100% increase in ocean freight. And I remember
Yeah.
because when I had a customer that was bringing bed sheets in, and he would say, like, I can't ship. No, I have to pause shipping.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what's going
Yeah.
on? He goes, like,
Yeah.
you don't understand. I make $6,000 a container at $4,000.
Yeah.
At 20 grand, I lose $14,000 a container.
Yeah. What am
Now,
I going to? Yeah.
well,
What?
you want to talk about a really great way to put your company out of business.
Yeah. Yeah. Just order a bunch of containers. You're going negative.
Exactly. But he was in the middle of a contract. He couldn't renegotiate.
Was it, and
Now, I
I
do
was going to
also
bring that.
think,
I had a
go ahead.
customer, same thing. Had a local customer, 2018, when all of that craziness, and we had, you know, capacity tighten, rates were skyrocketing, things were going nuts. With all the hurricanes was a perfect storm and stuff like that. But
That's interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute because you don't think these things impact our market, but
oh, they do.
holy crap. Yep.
But oh my gosh, I felt so bad working with this customer. It was actually literally one of my first customers I ever landed getting into this. And had a good relationship with him, and she tells me, she says, like, my owner did a bad decision. He quoted, and guys, this is where you need to wake up your eyes to these things. And if you're just quoting freight and just quoting numbers just to try to get loads, like, you're doing yourself and the customer a disservice. You gotta dig into it. But so, because of asking my customer the questions and because of our relationship, she said, we're losing on every single one of these. My owner bid us and guaranteed freight prices from 2017, had just started anew for 2 years, guaranteed the freight cost. It was fixed. So they were losing. I was literally having to, I just
Cut
felt bad.
here, cut there, cut
Yeah,
here,
just,
cut there, cut
oh
here.
my gosh, it
You know,
was,
everything's being negotiated now. Sorry, not most things are being negotiated now.
yeah,
If you as the professional sales rep gets ahead of that negotiation, like just think of this from an image, credibility, and brand perspective. Your customer, your prospect is able to go to management and say, here's our pricing. We can lock it in, add a variable, fuel,
yep,
right? Lock it in. If I can work with my suppliers to give them X, Y, and Z, I can lock this in. That really is the ultimate strategy for Q4. And it
absolutely,
might not even be like these
absolutely,
deals you land in Q4 might be Q1 execution. But like anything, like, okay, so we want to call a spade a spade. We want to 8 mile this. If
wow,
you are well
8 miles,
below your targets right now because you haven't sold and you haven't built your pipeline, don't even stress about trying to make quota this year or trying to make your targets this year because you're just going to kill yourself. You were lazy. You didn't do what you should have done as a professional sales rep, as the person that made a promise when you put your projections in place and you signed off on your projections. You made a promise. You made a guarantee to your employer. Now, sometimes the shit happens. We lose a customer. We have some bad breaks, blah, blah. But if you've
of
been
course,
sitting on your ass and not doing what you should be doing, the only person to look at is in the mirror. That's it. So what do? Okay, I understand that. On guys should do an episode or video on projections. 100%,
okay,
we can
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Projections are like, yeah, I get fired up when it comes to projections.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but here's the thing: if you are behind, okay, there is no massive seasonal peak unless you have like a ton of Christmas trees. They're going to explode this year because we can't get fake trees in from Asia. So everybody's going to need
Oh,
Christmas
real
trees, right?
trees. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
they're going to
guys,
go. But
oh, they're
the
gonna.
reality is, if you're way behind because you haven't been doing the work, don't do yourself the biggest favor. Here is, please, 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 do not get so desperate that you have commission breath, because you will actually hurt yourself more in the long run than if you just stay the course. Create solutions, create that framework, build that infrastructure for 2022. Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell your boss, march right into their office the second this live is ended and said, listen,
I
I've
saw
been screwing the pooch.
it.
I haven't done my job. Own it. Own it, my friend.
Yes,
I've been
exactly.
screwing the pooch. I haven't done my job. I don't see myself making my quota this year. I don't see myself making my projections. Here's where I am realistically. Here's what I have in my pipeline. Here is the hot leads. Here's one or two that I might be able to close, but their volumes are kind of doing this right now or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Have that information, own it, and say, however, the next 90 days, my single focus is to structure massive deals for Q1, to structure deals for my customers that are going to take them in 2022 and catapult them into being the leader in 2023. Because if you focus on that right now, you'll probably, and probably DJ, and love your thoughts on this, you'll probably close more deals in Q4 because you're focusing on their future, on how they're going to look good.
Yeah,
But if you go in with this
yes,
commission breath because you're the lazy arse that
commission breath.
hasn't done what you should have been doing all year, you're going to lose.
You're exactly right. The commission breath. I mean, you stole it right. You stole a bullet right from me. But yes, yeah.
Sorry, brother.
No, you're good.
I started to get fired
Yeah,
up and I had an 8
you're
mile
like,
run.
there it is. No, yeah, commission breath. You're not going, guys. When you and listen, I try to do that, and it's the hardest thing to do, especially if we realize. So we set, if you guys are goal setters, which you should be. If you're not setting goals, you should have goals for everything, personally and business. And if you're not setting goals constantly, and long term and short term, I mean, I keep them on me. I have them on my phone. I think we one of our first episodes I showed them. But yeah, I used to write them. I learned this. This was an H Gregg thing. I worked at H Gregg. They were very good on training for product and product information knowledge and sales. And yeah, he wrote it down. He had it in his pocket. He said, "I write down goals." From that point on, I was 20 at that time. So from that point on, I've been doing that. I was writing it down. Now I just put it in my phone. But
It's like the
goals,
gold
guys.
cards from Bob Proctor
There you go.
from Atrium. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. But goals, if you're behind on your goals, like Dan's saying, it's just like you make a mistake. You made a mistake. You were lazy. You fucked up. You weren't doing everything you should have to do this year what you should. Don't worry about that. Uh, Don't don't worry about the past. Set yourself up for the future, and that's what we're talking about. And that's what Dan's
But
talking
own
about.
it.
But
But
own it.
own it.
Yes, you have to
Yeah.
own it. Absolutely,
Because
you have
it's
to
no
own
one
it.
else's fault but
Throw
yours.
yourself under the bus, take it, ride the bus over yourself, and then think of next year and
Yeah.
plan it.
I mean, I hear a lot of comments about, oh, shippers don't want to talk to me. Yeah, it's so much harder these days. It is.
It
It,
is.
it is. And you know what? And I should apologize because as we're having this conversation, I realize that maximizing deals in Q4 and taking your business onwards and upwards as a title of today's thing might seem like a little clickbaity, but here's what we mean by maximizing deals. Okay. It does not mean closing deals in Q4. Like if you've not done the work and you've not led up to this point of being, bang, 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 and just delivering. It's okay. That's not working. I'm going to test this. That's not working. I'm going to test this. That's not working. I'm going to test this, and keep going to this point. Then you're not maximizing your deals for the first 3 quarters. However, you can maximize your results and put your head down on the pillow at night, knowing you did your best every day. So that's a relaxing, calming feeling. Regardless of the results at this point, all you can do is your best, and that's all you can focus on, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is that we as individuals, maximizing deals in Q4 might mean deals close in Q1 and Q2, but you're maximizing that output in Q4. I've often said, DJ, and it's part of our Inception program, and it's part of the Sell Something Else Masterclass that we put on every week. 12 months. Dedicate yourself to your business for 12 months, and it's unreal what will change in your life. Unreal. And is it work? Sure. Is it tough? Hell yeah. I mean, it's friggin' insane tough. But the results at the end are gonna blow you away, man.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. You're kind of freezing there too, but you are so right. And they so talking about the building up, talking about the preparing for fourth quarter, like you said, you should have already have filled that pipeline and done that. We're really freezing.
You're not freezing on me at all.
Oh, I'm not okay. I'm freezing over here for some reason.
That's okay. It's probably just we're good. Keep going.
Okay. Good. But the story of the bamboo, that's one thing with pipelines. I don't know if everybody knows the story of bamboo trees or how they grow, but these people water these bamboo trees, and for the first 4 years, they're growing underground. They never see anything but a little sprout, and then eventually it turns into this huge thing, but all the growth is under. The same thing of what we're talking about with pipelines, guys. If you didn't fill it now for the fourth quarter, you're too late. And that's not, again, don't beat yourself up, but prepare yourself for first quarter next year and really go into next year crushing it, and do what you can and maximize the deals with what you have now. And that's really, yeah, what we're trying to say here. But Dan did bring up another point I want to kind of circle back to, when he said, when you talked about pricing and you said shoot him the price, it's 300, well, you're $300 over for this lane. And then, guys, I know there's some of you guys out there that were instantly like, oh well, we'll drop it to that. Dan didn't say that. Dan said, okay, no worries, next.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Don't just keep dropping, thinking that has to be your customer right there. They might not fit what you have, what you need, what again, with the way Dan's talking about it, you're going to your suppliers first. Go to your truckers. Go to your carriers that you're working with, that you have the relationships with. Find out what you can help them, and then reverse it. And then there you go. Now you know what rates you need to be at, and there's no more, oh, $300 less. Okay, let me just drop it, and okay, we could do that too. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just don't.
Well, you're doing, when you do that, you're selling rates. You're not separating yourself from the crowd. The reason, the only reason you would put numbers in is because you jump steps in your sales sequence. That's the only reason. And for me, I would much rather get that out of the way. Like, for any of you that have booked a call with me or anything, my first thing is, okay, what are the challenges? What are the issues? I listen and I say, this program will help you. And some people say, yeah, but Dan, you're selling before you create a relationship. Yeah, yes and no. I'm figuring out what the challenge is. If this is the problem, this is my suggestion for the best solution to the problem. If you're looking at solving your problem, it's going to cost you to solve it. Now, like think of this for a second. If your customer is not having major issues, or they're not looking for that future, like they're not future casting their business and saying, I want to secure my business for next year, but you're looking to secure business for your suppliers for next year, you're missing each other's message. So maybe it's not a fit, which is good. It's cool. I'll talk to 10 people and maybe 2 people will get into one of my programs. That's fine. The other 8 people might, and again, we're talking 2 different industries, but the reality is a lot of people talk, few people take action, right?
Absolutely.
If your customer needs solutions and you have the solutions, this is what it's going to cost you to fix it. Okay, caveat, hello. If you're like 40% margin, story, right? But if you got a decent margin to run your business profitably, again, dependent completely on the company you work for, You know, some companies are $40 to invoice, some companies are 70, some companies are 100.
Yep.
Whatever your cost is to invoice, whatever
Yep.
your desired, you know, based on the amount of work and I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into margins based on the amount of work, based on what you can provide, based on the value that you can provide. Like, and again, we've talked about this a million times. If you are 5% higher on freight, but you guarantee them zero demurrage charges of $1.647 million, they're up.
Yeah.
Hello. But
Yeah.
you have to start somewhere. And that starting point is saying, hey, Mr. Supplier, my asset, the people that actually help my business run, because without you, I got nothing. What do you need to get it done? And what do you need where we can get this business and lock it in? And the only variable would be fuel. Like,
Yep.
what do you need to make that happen? Okay, what do you need if we lock it in for 3 months and then readjust? Because if you're locking it in for a year, most people are going to go a bit higher. So you
You have
have to
to.
have those
You have to.
variables.
Oh yeah.
But
You
like,
have to.
I mean, how many times, DJ, have you spoken to a customer? And I know I have thousands, and I've said, you know, fuel's the variable, and they said, well, I want an all-in rate. Okay, do you want an all-in rate for a year, or do you want an all-in rate for 6 months? Now,
Exactly. Yeah.
caveat to this as well. This was pre-pandemic when numbers were a little bit more
Yeah.
flatline, and
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
have to caveat that. Now, the thing was, I'd say to a customer, okay, are you looking for a year? Okay, so if fuel's at 30%, I'm charging you 34%.
Yep.
Because I don't know what's going to happen, or 32% or 33%. Or I'll look at the years past and I'll look at this year and I'll do an average, but it's going to be higher than the fuel today. And
Yep.
it's going to be maybe 3, 4, 5 points higher. If you want a rate for 90 days locked, maybe it'll be 2, 3 points lower than what it would have been. So if it's 30, maybe I'll do a 32% instead of a 35%. So there's these variables that you have to protect yourself, because if you're running
Absolutely.
a 15-point margin and fuel changes by 5 points, you immediately drop to 10 points.
That's right.
Does that 10 points equate
Cover.
to what you can do, or you desire, or what you need to run your business profitably? That's the
Yep.
question. You know, DJ, here's the thing is, and I think this is where a lot of salespeople differ from owners. You know,
Mhm.
as an owner, you know what you need to run your business profitably.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
salesperson, you're like, I get 30%. If I make $100 on an order, I'm good because I get $30. I'll make $100 all day long at 10 orders a day. I get, you know, there's $3,000 or $300 a day. But if
Hmm.
it costs $80 to invoice an order,
It's
and
not
some
working.
salespeople might say, well, that's not my problem. That's my customer's problem, right? But if it costs $80 to invoice an order and you're making $100 an order and they're paying you 30, the company's losing
Losing.
$10 an order.
Yep.
So, you know, I do believe if you decide to fly a flag of a company, you have to understand what makes that company profitable. And I also think, and again, and I might lose a bunch of people here because they might say, you know, that's bullshit. I care about my paycheck and that's it. And hey, that's one way
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
skin the cat. But the reality is that if your company's not profitable,
I will say that's the difference between a job and a career, though, too.
one
That,
100%.
that
But even as a career, right? They're focusing on the salespeople focus on their wallet,
yeah,
right? Most of the
most
time,
you're you're
like
right. But if you're doing
99.9% of the time.
that, you're failing. You're not making
But
a
also,
career
but
out of it. 'Cause
how many actually go back and say, okay, company, how
yeah,
do I make this company money?
yeah,
Because most salespeople are like, oh, friggin' owners are friggin' filthy rich. But you know what? Like, I mean, a company I work for, they're 30 plus years in business. The owner is very wealthy. He's 30 plus years of having everything he's ever owned on the line. He deserves to be friggin' wealthy.
yeah,
Okay? Shut your mouth and get moving. Do what you need to do to get your business. Like, quit focusing on that crap. Focus on your life and move your needle. But
yeah.
all I'm saying here, everyone, is just, you know, like, just make sure you're profitable. And when you play that game where if I take $50 here, $50 there, 50, like, okay, so here's one thing that I've realized. Okay. We as sales reps, when we agree to a price and we agree to that lower margin price where we feel like we're getting squeezed, we forget that we agreed to it. So 3 months down the road, when you're hanging up
Yeah.
the phone going, that effing customer and they don't
Oh,
want to pay for anything and they want that, you
yes.
agreed to it.
Yeah.
You are the one that agreed to that price. Deal with it or
Yeah.
move on. And that's
Yeah.
why I say do that right at the beginning. This is what I need. This is what I need to accomplish X, Y, and Z for you. If X, Y, and Z are that important, how many times have you heard DJ? Dan, this is a multi-million dollar customer. And the
Yep.
first thing I say to them, okay, but if it's a multi-million dollar customer, what the hell is the difference if you spend an extra $100 to get it done properly? Like,
Yeah.
it's a multi-million dollar customer, $100. Multi-million dollar customer, $100. That
Yeah.
math has never added up. But so
No.
many companies, well, no, get it for 1,100 instead of 12. And then
Yeah.
1,100 screws up completely, like just screws the pooch. The
Yeah.
whole thing goes to crap.
Exactly.
And now they're screaming at you when you made the decision to drop the $100 instead of standing your ground,
Yep.
sinking your heels in the sand and saying, no, you want it done right. This is what I'll
Yep.
lose the load before I lose my credibility.
Yes. 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 Right there. Exactly. Lose the load, guys, before you lose your credibility. Either way, you're losing the customer, but you might as well just lose it and not look like shit because everything falls apart because you went with some
Bang,
shitty carrier. Don't do it. Come
bang,
on. Yeah, I
bang,
agree.
bang. Yeah, Ryan's
Uh,
back. Great point, Dan. Locking in rates for 3 months. Absolutely.
yeah,
Completely different. Like, guys, it's a different strategy for everything. And I wish we could, like, what we should do? Let's do an episode on kind of like 1, 3, 6, 9, 12.
yeah,
And I'll talk to some people and see if we can bring some people in because as we're closing up today, I want to
yeah.
really make sure everyone. So Friday's episode, every
Idea.
Friday, we are going to put in the comments a link to join us live. We can have up to 10 people. And what we're
Yeah.
going to look to do is get all y'all in. If you have something to ask, if you have a question, if you have a
Ryan, you
statement, if
better
you have a
be there.
strategy, Ryan will be there. Ryan will be there. Like if any of you have it, we're going to put the link to get into the stream in the comments, and you're going to be able to come up live, video on, and talk with us and share with us because I think it'll be because Friday's going to be kind of like a chill, just hey, what do you kind of what strategies, what have
Yeah,
you faced this
yeah.
week, what challenges have you faced, and how did you overcome them, and all that kind of stuff, and just trying to more of a mellow. Monday's going to
Yeah,
be a heavy
guys,
lifting day
Friday
with
we do, exactly. Friday we do want to make a little more interactive, so you guys could give us some feedback of the things that we're showing and going over for Mondays and Wednesdays, how it's gone, what pushback you got, what failures, where it's not clicking. This is your opportunity to really, ask a guy who's been in this thing forever. Started huge things, has an amazing program. This is kind of I'm giving you guys a freebie in to just talk to this guy for a little bit. Just
you know what?
use it.
Oh
Come
man,
in, talk to him, and pick his brain. He's got a lot of experience, but this Friday we want to be it's going to be more fun. It won't be so much preaching and teaching. It'll be more just laid back and. Let's see what we can do. But Ryan, yes, you better be there. I love your feedback, so keep it coming. I think there is a way too, Dan. Tell me if I'm wrong. They don't if they.
get the
uh,
bleeper button ready.
uh, look,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, sir,
well,
ready to
well,
go. Greg,
maybe.
well,
Well, we'll see
let's
what
get you
happens.
on
Maybe we
Friday
need
too,
that
man.
at first. Maybe we will. But yeah, I think there's a way to even have them backstage and then bring them in so they
Yeah,
could
100%. So
see,
what we're
right.
going to
So
do is we're just
you're-
going to simply give you the link. We're going to put it in the comments. For
so
anyone
don't
that
worry
wants to
if
come
you
in,
click
just
that
click on
link.
the link. You'll drop in here.
Yeah,
And
you're not going to
if
be
you click,
live instantly. So
no, no, no,
don't.
no, no, no. No, you'll be in
Yeah,
backstage. But what's going to happen, just so everyone knows, and we'll talk about this again on Friday. But if you do click in and you can't get in, just because means there's 8 people in queue. I'm allowed 10 people in with this restream. And you know what? Hey, listen, if we get more, we'll upgrade to see if restream will allow more people in.
yeah.
We obviously don't want it to get 10 people on the screen, 10 people trying to talk and just create this massive chaos that doesn't
Oh yeah,
serve.
that'd be crazy.
The big thing here is to serve, to give you strategies, tactics that you can use right now and go out and do what you need to do and crush
Absolutely.
the area of sales or your niche that you need to crush.
Did you
But you'll be
progress?
backstage when you're ready. We'll bring you on. We'll kind of say, okay, we're bringing X person on now, so you can get ready. Make sure you're in line with your camera, all that kind of stuff. But then we'll bring you on. We'll kind of have the conversation. You'll go back out to the audience, and we'll just kind of transition from there. So it'll be very, very, very simple, very easy, because that's what we want. Link goes in. We'll make sure we get it to both LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And then I'm also in the process of trying to figure out how to get this damn thing up on Insta through the desktop. So we'll get that figured out.
Did you
What do
share
you got?
Greg's
What do you got to
comment?
quote to close out today, brother?
Of course I do. And it is a bamboo. So it's kind of following the bamboo story a little bit, but it says, remember, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. Be patient, be humble, keep moving forward, and know that all this hard work you're putting in and day out will produce the results you've been looking for. Your time is coming. Don't give up. That's it.
There you go.
Let's
Have a
keep
good
it
one,
going.
everybody. We'll see you Friday.
See you Friday, guys.